It is a big, ugly, awful, incredible story that people don't know what to do with that. Bottom line.
The court abducted my child without any ground. I have the clean record. I am a licensed nurse. I take care of people, make sure my patient get well. I do teaching. I am a good mother.
Presented to change custody. There was no reason for them to change custody. There was nothing presented that would even carry any weight to change. The only thing you want to do is protect your children. And this legal system now has put me in a place where I have no power. They've put the power in the hands of the psychologist, the kid's attorney, the evaluator, essentially trying to take me completely
I ran into court with the idea that we were going to bring two sides before a judge and they were going to come up with a reasonable conclusion to whatever, or the issue at hand. And I found out that it was 180 degrees from
the court
what
mediator failed to follow the local rules and the law. She broke every single rule in the book. She doesn't read the file, she doesn't read the pleading, she doesn't know the history of,
I would say we're seeing an emergency here. When these children are being damaged, they're treating like throwaway kids. They're disposable. Their welfare is disregarded.
Who you know and how much money you have. It doesn't have anything to do with the law. It doesn't have anything to do with justice.
Financial incentives are to keep these situations going. There's no financial incentive to settle the case. The evaluators make a ton of money. The attorneys for the minor and the family court attorneys are guaranteed payment for, if the child's 3 years old, for the next 15 years. Because they never settle these cases.
If a child is placed in unsupervised visitation or full custody with the person that they've identified as the perpetrator of abuse, you know instantly that their protective parent is never going to just walk away and stop fighting for their safety. In the family, they'll appoint an evaluator. And first it will go to court mediation. If there's enough money, they'll recommend private mediation. Typically, they'll appoint a parenting coordinator, a parenting coach, a therapist for each family member. And the amounts that these people can charge are not regulated at all.
And the real problem is that mediator ends up deciding your case. And that's not how the system is supposed to work. And so when the mediator decides your case, whoever loses is, quote, disgruntled, and they should be not because of the outcome, but because they never got a trial. Mediators in Marin County who flat out lie in their reports and have been caught at it by the appellate court. And the trial courts have been reversed.
Across the United States, they say that each state has its judge, individual rogue judge, or its individual rogue court, or the whole court system is a mess, does not protect children. So it's a national and an international.
Hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars statewide off of the whole family law machine. They want the court to make those orders, because those orders are what get them paid, and it's the reason.
That's money buying something we label as truth and justice, where it's not money buying truth or justice. It's money buying, in some cases, lies, really damaging lies with long-term consequences.
No one will fix it until the people who are making policy decide to fix it. And they're not going to decide to fix it until pressure is brought to bear on them to fix it. And that pressure has to come from the public, it has to come from the press, it has to come from our elected officials, it has to come from the oversight entities, it has to come from law enforcement. That's responsible government. That's the duty of our elected officials, to make sure that the citizens are...
Congress is going to eventually have to come to grips with the fact that this is a national problem.
It isn't for moms, it isn't for dads or for children, it's for itself. It's for the court, it's for money. And whoever they can use, they're equal opportunity abusers.
Well, Ramona, the volume of email that has come in the last few months has been extraordinary. This is just a sample of the correspondence we've received from viewers following our series on deadbeat parents back in February. Now, among the common themes are parents complaining of a system unwilling to budge and goes too far when parents hit hard times.
I lost my vehicle. I had my car impounded, so they arrested me, took me to the jail, and I had to get bailed out.
Derek Adams is a deadbeat dad, or so says the state of Ohio. Deputies arrested him not once, but twice, even though the father of 3 is making child support payments.
I just think they're out of their mind.
At the time of his divorce, Derek's monthly child support was $2,000. But last year, Derek hit hard times, taking a 40% pay cut at his job with a Cleveland bank. At Derek's new pay level, the state could only garnish $1,500 per month, leaving him just $750 to live on. But because Derek couldn't pay the full amount, he was labeled a deadbeat, thrown in jail, and his driver's license suspended.
It's been tough, but been trying to work through it. And of course, when they take your license away from you, it's hard to work when most of your time on the job is in the car traveling from customer to customer.
Abuse of power, falsified documents, lies in court, threats, and retaliation against parents who fight back. We've heard from victims, attorneys, and officials about what's going on, but we haven't heard from the social workers themselves until now. In disturbing detail, they back up many of the things we reported, that families are harassed and workers are pressured, all in an effort to boost adoption numbers. Because she would not ignore a half-dozen allegations of abuse in this foster home, a state social worker was fired.
I did what I felt like I had to do. It was the right thing to do, and I stand by the complaint.
Because Pat Moore of Ellesmere, Kentucky knew she was right, she filed a lawsuit. And last month, the state paid her $380,000 to settle it. When she found that 2 foster parents had criminal records, a son living there with multiple felonies, and a convicted sex offender visiting and sometimes caring for the children, she refused to arrange an adoption. Her CPS supervisors responded with this memo recommending the adoption should proceed quickly.
Our theory is that the basis for this is the tie to the federal money. That every time a child is not placed in a home, the state of Kentucky, through its cabinet, is losing federal money.
It's an allegation we've seen many times in our 3-year-long investigation of Kentucky CPS, that instead of trying to bring families together, the cabinet forces adoptions to earn more federal bonus money. And it apparently started in 2004, when adoptions in Kentucky ballooned to 724, while the federal bonus money more than doubled, from $452,000 the year before to more than $1 million.
Statistics. The cabinet puts pressure on statistics because federal money and state money come from statistics.
This former state social worker is so afraid of retaliation on her family by the cabinet, she asked us to conceal her identity.
You get praise. The cabinet praises you for terminating rights and adopting the kids out immediately.
She says the concerted effort to take children away and put them up for adoption was so brazen, she actually saw someone successfully place an order for children.
Someone could not have a child and wanted a child, so within the community, this certain person saw a family that was in distress, was having a hard time, and relayed to workers that they would like those children. And that's exactly what has happened.
And this former CPS supervisor, who also fears retaliation, says if an order for a child was delayed or denied, her supervisors would roll in and try to overturn local decisions.
This one family was promised a child,
And when it happened that the child was going to be reunified with the parent, they called our regional office. Our regional office came down on our county. They harassed the birth parents and that kind of thing because they didn't agree